Hello and welcome. I'm Paisley. This is Puck joining me. He's our foster dog from Marley's Mutts. Today we're going to work on stretching the back of the body, and we're going to start with the feet. You can use a ball if you have one. If not, no worries, I'll show you an alternative. I'm using a trigger point ball. It's also been a dog too. It's a little screwed up, but tennis balls work too. So if you have a ball, you would put your heel on the floor and you're going to put your foot on the ball, and it's just on the arch side of the ball of your foot. Now, if you don't have a ball, grab a block, do the same basic action, heel on the floor, kind of ball of the foot on the edge of the block. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to bend the front leg and lean some weight into the ball. So basically, you're putting pressure on the ball of your foot just behind it on the arch side. Same thing on a block. You would just lean your weight forward and let it kind of stretch the back of your ankle, the ball of your foot. And then the next time that you kind of lean forward and apply that controlled weight into the prop, you're going to spread all of your toes, try to kind of lift them up and out and open them. It might be harder on a block, but you have the option here to squeeze your toes like you're wrapping them down and then to lift them up again. The beauty of the ball is you could also roll across the sole of your foot. That's obviously not going to happen with the block. So do what you can. Just kind of get the sole of the foot, the ball of the foot to wake up a little bit. And then simply change legs. So second foot, ball of the foot. I like just behind the ball, kind of on the arch side, but kind of up against the ball of the foot. You lean your weight forward by bending the knee of that foot that's on the ball or the block, and you're applying pressure to the sole of your foot. And you want to picture almost like your foot is draping or stretching over the surface. So same thing if it's on a block, you want to picture that it's widening across the ball of your foot where the block is pressing. And then we're going to do this action with the toes where we lift, make like a starfish with your toes, spread them out. Maybe the option to grab down around the ball or toward the block if you're using a block. And obviously if you have a ball and you kind of did a little bit of a roll on the first foot, you can do that on the second foot. Okay, so we're going to use these props later, the block or the ball, whichever you have. But for now, we're just going to put them to the side. And then you're going to drop down to all fours on your mat. And when you get to all fours, take cat pose, which is the one where you really round up your back. So stretch your spine toward the sky, tuck your chin down toward your chest, and really try to get the back of your neck, back of your spine to stretch. So we're just holding cat pose. You're really kind of pushing down with your hands, broadening your shoulder blades, opening the back of your body. Give it a breath and try to help with your breath to expand across the back of your waist. And then when you exhale, separate your knees a little bit and push yourself back to rest in child's pose, maybe making a pillow with your hands for your head to rest on. Start to breathe a little bit more consciously. And, I use that word a lot when I say breathe. Breathe consciously. It just means pay attention to your breath. Breathe on purpose without just being checked out. And over the next 3 breaths, concentrate on relaxing the back of your head, the back of your neck, back of the shoulders, back of the kidney area, back of the waist, and the hips. Then push yourself up to sitting. You can stay kneeling if that's comfortable for your legs. I realize not everyone's legs enjoy this shape, but sit in a way that's doable for you. Make your spine alert and upright so that your chest is lifting towards your chin. Without losing that, you're going to take your head and pull your chin down. So if you want a little bit of extra weight, I guess, just use one of your hands to encourage that gentle tucking in, chin towards chest. You know, if you have any kind of like neck issues, like any sort of bulge in the back of your neck, your discs are not supported there, this might be a little bit too much for you. So in that case, I would suggest that you come about halfway up and push your head into your hand instead. So one of two choices, really kind of going for that neck stretch, or if you're a little bit fragile in the back of your neck is a little bit more straight, or you have a disc bulge or any kind of thing like that, don't go in so deep. Stay a little more upright. All right, we're going to do one more thing here. Regardless of that, you're going to pick your head up. I'm going to turn and face you for this one. And you're going to tip your head either way, doesn't matter. I'm going to start to my right. So you're going to go over to the right or left, whatever you chose, and then rotate your nose down. So you're twisting your head to look over to the side and pulling down. This is going to get the back of your neck, but kind of on the side of the back of your neck. So I'm using gentle pressure with my hand to pull down. And at the same time, just a small amount of energy pushing back with my head into my hand to open that line of the back of the neck. Let's do the other direction. So again, there's a lean to the side, but there's a rotation where you look down. So find that on this side. Use your hand to encourage a little bit of that opening. And we're gently pressing the head back into the hand as we do so. Give it a breath. Let that breath go. Release your hand, release your head. Find your way back to all fours. From all fours, you're going to take your right leg back so that it's in plank pose. You're going to walk your toes a little forward toward your hands so that you can really flex into that heel, like really dorsiflex your ankle and push your heel back. Tuck your tail down, pull your head into line with your spine, and picture the line from your right heel to the crown of your head growing longer. Now we're going to step that right foot forward between the hands. And we're just going to come up onto the knee with both hands here. With your back foot, you're going to put your toenails down. You're going to draw your tail under and lean slightly forward into your lunge. It's a little bit of stretch in the front of the body too. I know I said we're stretching the back body, but we're doing a little bit of both right now. Okay, so from upright, we're going to balance here. We're going to lift the ball of the foot, push that heel forward so that you can straighten the leg while your hips are above your left knee. So for some people, tighter in the back and leg people, this is going to be a stretch already, just straightening the leg, being upright. If your balance is hard, just put your hand on a chair, a block, a wall, something. If this is a little bit easier for you, you can lean forward, kind of lengthening your spine, keeping a straight, long spine, and find either your leg for support, a block, or the floor out in front of you. So let's take another breath. Drop the chin in, look down. That might be harder balance, but try to stay with it. And then bend that front leg, find the floor with your hands, step back with your right foot, and we'll repeat this on the second side. So from all fours, step your left foot back to a plank position. Toes come a little forward so that you can really push into your left heel. So as you push into your left heel, you'll start to feel some stretch in that calf, hopefully, or maybe the soles of your feet. Lift up your waist, lengthen through your neck. That whole back line from under the sole of your foot, around your heel, up your calf, up your hamstrings, back of your body, all the way to the back of your neck, and even over the top of your head. That whole line is lengthening. Step left foot forward, rise up, hands on left knee. Flatten out the back foot, draw the tail down, bend into your lunge. And just calm your mind. Take a few breaths. Be patient for your body. Rock the hips back over the right knee. Push the left heel forward until your leg is straight. So you're again kind of dorsiflexing or pulling back on the toes of that left foot. Keep the knee straight and be upright in your spine. And then decide if like this is really hard for you because it's an intense stretch already, then this is where you stop. Otherwise, maybe you have a little more room in your body and you're trying to kind of lengthen or pike forward. So right now we're not rounding so much in the spine. And then we're going to put the hands on the shin or the thigh or blocks, whatever you want. Keep pulling back through the ball of the foot and lengthening your spine. You should feel that strong stretch through the back of your leg somewhere there. Last breath here. Come out and put your hands on the floor. Step back with your left foot. And this time curl your toes under and lift up your hips and come into dog pose. As you get up here into dog pose, what you're going to do is you're going to lift your heels and bend your knees a little bit. So you're going to keep your arches, the soles of your feet, kind of lifted, almost like you had that ball underneath the arches of your feet. And then you're going to begin to roll your heels toward the floor as if your arches are going up and over that ball. In other words, you're not collapsing in the soles of your feet as you start to straighten your legs and drop your heels back. So much like when we began and we had our feet on the block or the ball, we want to think of breadth across the arches of the feet. And that the arches of the feet have a little lift. In other words, your arches are not collapsing. Now for these last couple moments here, we're going to purposefully tuck the chin in toward the chest and look a little bit more toward the navel. And now we're going to roll forward. So tuck your tail, round your back like cat pose, and at the same time, roll your weight forward to plank. Roll through the spine until your head is the last thing to arrive in plank pose. Take one more breath. And then push back to downward facing dog. Little buoyancy in the soles of the feet, heels up for a moment. And then dropping the heels over an imaginary ball that's under the arch of each foot. When you come forward again, the same way, tucking the tail around the back, and this time step your right foot between your hands. You're going to come to triangle pose, so spin your left heel diagonally so it can come to the floor. Slide your left hand up onto your left hip, and then begin to straighten your right leg. So if the floor feels really difficult for you to reach, or you're kind of rounding over in the pose and collapsing, just climb your hand up onto your shin or grab your block again. So we're going to lean the hips back, kind of in line with that right heel. They tend to get a little bit forward. And once you have them there, we're going to turn the belly, roll the chest open, and turn the head to look up. Now you're welcome to keep your your top hand on your hip, or you could take it up in the sky in the kind of the more traditional alignment of the pose. From here, rotate back to the floor, put that hand down, bend your knee, and you're going to step back to dog pose with that right leg up in the air. So as you swing the right leg high, turn your hips open to the right, lift your left heel for a moment and get a lot of elevation in the pose. So way up with the right foot, even the left heel is up. And we're going to keep this elevation through the leg, the lifted leg, and then do the same work with that left foot. We're going to drop the heel, but we're going to imagine that we're rolling over a little ball so that we don't just collapse in the arch. Push your chest closer to your left knee. Really keep juicing the energy to reach up through that right leg. And then you're going to lean forward to plank. You're going to dab your right toes to the ground. And then you're going to push yourself back to dog pose, both feet on the ground. Take a breath. Tuck your chin in so you're looking toward your chest or navel now. Tuck your tail, roll your spine forward until you're more towards plank. And as you do that, step your left foot forward between your hands. So again, coming into triangle pose, right heel diagonally to the floor, right hand to hip. Push back to straighten your left leg and find an appropriate height for your left hand. So the hips will tend to go forward, kind of more toward the right toes. Push them back so they're more in line with your left heel. And then roll your belly, your chest really more open toward the right. And again, you can keep your right hand as is or take it up so that your arm is vertical, which is kind of a more traditional alignment in this pose. I'm not a traditional pose person, so here I am with my hand on my hip. Unwind, face the floor, and bend your left leg to transition. So dog pose, left leg in the air. And we're going for lots of elevation, so really high in the left foot. Lift the right heel to help with that. And then keep the sole of your foot a little bit lifted. Just imagining that as you start to drop your right heel down, the sole of your foot's almost like buoying up. And we'll get a really different stretch through the back of your calf. Different connective tissue line engages. Really reach through the top leg. Strong, strong, strong. We're going to lean forward to plank pose. We're just going to tap the left foot to the ground. Push back dog pose, both feet on the ground. Take a breath. Exhale, tuck the chin in toward the chest, like you're looking more toward your navel. It'll feel more round in your back. Just a different way to do it. You can tuck your tail, start to roll like a wave through the spine forward. And as you come forward, you're going to step both feet up by your hands to come into a forward fold. So maybe somewhere like hip width apart, or maybe your feet are a few inches apart. If you're more limber, they're maybe touching. Exhale, release your head down. Inhale, push into the floor or maybe your shins. Lengthen your spine. Just make sure when you lengthen your spine, you kind of pick up your belly and solar plexus too for support. And then exhale and fold in again. Turn the toes slightly open, squat down. Your heels might have to lift, and how far you squat depends on your knees' ability. So we're going to aim for rounding in the spine. So what we're going to do is tuck the ribs in, tuck the tail down, snuggle the upper arms in between the knees. You can reach forward with your hands. You can hold onto your mat. You can even wrap your hands around your shins so that they're palm up kind of behind you on the mat. I'm doing that one in case you want to see. Now, if your knees don't like this deep squat, sit in a chair, open the knees apart, feet apart, and then drape your spine forward between your knees and reach for the ground. Take a good breath. Expand out in your back body. Think of it like that cat pose we did at the beginning of the practice to open the back body. And you're going to slip yourself out of that shape. Come back to your forward fold. So legs straight, head down. Tucking the chin in. Actively pulling your spine closer to your knees. This time when you inhale and lift partway up, you're going to put your hands flat on the mat. And you're going to step back to dog pose again. So we're going to take one sweep of the leg, right leg up, and then we're going to step forward. So inhale, right leg high, same action as before, that splits of the back of the body, the back of the legs, and then step forward for Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. It's a variation we're going to do. So once you have it forward, your hips are pointing straight ahead, hop your left foot forward maybe 2-3 inches, and then lift your butt up, straighten your legs, lift the ball of your right foot and rock your weight back so that you start to drop your left heel over that imaginary ball so your arch doesn't collapse until your heel is on the ground. So it's pyramid pose, both legs are straight, you're folding over that front foot. You're trying to keep the front foot up and perhaps round your spine again. So this is the most intense of these standing forward folds. Head towards shin. We're going to step on the gas to get out of there. Walk the hands forward to the mat. Step back dog pose. Pause. Exhale, staying conscious with the breath still. Inhale, sweep up through the left leg. Form that nice big split. And now step it forward between your hands. Right foot comes forward 2-3 inches. Hips are square. Back heel's up. Lift the ball of your left foot. Rock your hips back. Start to drop your right heel closer to the floor, maybe all the way to the floor, but don't collapse the arch of that foot. Inhale and create some length in your spine. Exhale, maybe fold over as if to put your head on your left shin. Again, front foot flat, slide hands forward, step back dog pose. Last breath. And this time walk your hands to your feet near the back of your mat. Fold in. Repeat your squat, toes apart, knees apart, drop the hips. You can sit in a chair if your knees don't like this kind of bending. Round your spine, aim your head towards the floor, tuck your tailbone in or toward the chair if you're sitting, so you're really purposefully rounding your spine. Slide your hands out. Park your butt on the floor. So if you're in a chair, just move the chair out of the way. You can stretch your legs forward. I ended up way at the back of my mat, so I'm going to scoot a little bit forward and slide my feet out in front. Okay, so we're going to bring the block and ball nearby just so we don't have to get up again to get it in a moment. And this first part, we're going to put the legs straight out from the hip, so whatever hip width is for you. Okay? Now, leave your right leg as is, pull your left foot back, put the sole of your foot along your inner right leg, so kind of like tree pose. Then inhale, take your arms overhead. On exhale, forward bend and reach out for the sides of your feet, or your foot rather, or your toes. And then exhale and fold in. Tuck the chin, round the back. Fold forward. Try to release the weight of your head, your neck, your shoulders. Inhale and sit up. You're going to bend up your right knee, put that foot flat, and thread your left foot underneath your right leg. Draw in with your right ankle next to your left, or even cross it over for Ardha Matsyendrasana. We're going to try to drop that right hip down so that the hips are more weighted and level, and then pull the knee upright so it's not leaning to the right. And then twist to the right. Put your right hand behind you on the floor and just pause and recreate that same work. So right hip down, right knee pulls in, twist to the right. Turn your head. Let's do that one more time. Right hip heavy, right knee is upright, not out to the right or way over to the left. Turn your belly, look over your right shoulder. Untwist. Switch legs. So left leg forward. It's in line with hips, so it would be hip width. And then you're going to go right knee to the side, sole of the right foot at inner left thigh. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward bend. Hands can go to sides of the foot, top of the foot. If you can't reach, grab a belt. Put your block out there somewhere. If it's really easy for you to reach, you can also put your block at the sole of your foot and grab onto the block. That's another option for either more limber people or people like me who have kind of long arms. So either way, just release the weight of your head and try to really kind of release in the pose. Now when you're forward bending, it's kind of specify the releasing is more in the neck, the shoulders, the head, but the leg is active. So straighten your left leg. So the leg's not relaxing. Left leg is straight, but the spine is being allowed to fold forward. And the head is being allowed to drop down. Rise back up with the spine. Set up for half lord of the fish pose, Ardha Matsyendrasana, where you bend your two knees and tuck the right foot under the left leg. So in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to try to drop that left hip down, which tends to push the knee to the left, and then we're going to pull the knee upright at the same time. Then twist to the left. You can wrap around your knee or go over it with your elbow on the other side. Hip down, knee upright, twist. You can even look to the left. And then we repeat that. So hips level, pull the left knee in, turn your belly, look over your shoulder. Okay, untwist. Go back to straight legs out front. Hip width or thereabouts. And we'll do forward fold with both legs out here. Arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Remember, legs are active. So the thigh bones push down. Neck is soft. Okay, rise back up. All right, so we're going to lie on our backs now, and this is where you might want to have your ball and or block nearby. So once you get on your back, those should be within reach, is what I mean. And as you arrive there, you're just going to rest with your knees bent for now and your head on the floor. Now I'm going to give you two options here depending on what props you have. So if you have a ball, you're going to put that ball underneath, you're going to lift your head and put it underneath the bump of bone. It's called the occipital bone or the occiput, that bone that is where your neck turns into your skull. And if you were to feel, there's a high point that's in the middle, and then to the right and left of that, a little lower, there's two kind of lobes or bumps that stick out, and that's what we're going to target. Sorry, a little trouble there. So if you have a ball, go ahead and put that on one of those bulges at the base of your skull where your neck turns into your head. And with the weight of your head resting there, turn your head slightly to that side so you're really applying pressure to that spot. You're just waiting for that pressure point to receive the ball. Now I'm going to sit for a second just so I can make sure you see where that is on me. And if you don't have a ball, I'm going to give you an option in just a minute, so hang tight. So the ball would be not in the middle of the skull, but where the bulge of that skull is. So if you don't have a ball, you're going to use your fingers and you're going to make kind of like a claw and try to rest that bump on that same spot. So you're just using your hand instead of a ball. Now either way, you're going to move your head now. You're going to say yes or no or some variation. So you're either forming a little pressure point with your fingertips pointing up, back of the hand on the floor, or you're using a ball under your skull. And then you're going to release that side. Just pause, take your hand or the ball out and rest with your head on the ground, just pausing and feeling what that feels like, if anything. So that's a big point of connective tissue, like lots of different lines of connective tissue attached there. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're either putting the ball underneath that point, and you have to kind of turn your head to the side so that it actually stays on it, or you're bringing your fingers together and kind of bending to make a ridge, and then you put that underneath your head so that your fingertip is doing what a ball would do. So initially, just rest your weight on your fingertips or the ball. Try to rest your weight down. Don't fight it. And then you can start to make slight movements. You don't have to go for huge size. So you're trying to keep the point of contact basically the same, whether it's your finger or the ball. And you're just nodding your head either up and down or side to side. And you're trying to be patient with this. So the posterior chain starts under the sole of the foot, goes all the way up the back of the body, on either side of the spine. It passes this point and then goes over the head to the eyebrows. You could do this with your head on the block. You could even do it with the ball on top of the block with your head on the block. That would reach a different point. But for now, let's move the ball or the hand away. Grab the block if you have it, low height, slip it under your behind, and let this be your counter pose, which is to say we did only forward bending. We did no back bending really, except for that one kneeling lunge. So we're going to use this as our Shavasana, where we're kind of opening the front of the body passively, and we're letting the head be below the heart. So just stay here. If you don't have a block or you don't like this pose, just stretch your legs out on the floor and lie flat instead. I'll offer one more option here. Since that posterior chain wraps over the heads and ends at the eyebrows, another little self-massage you can do is to use the pads of your thumbs and to start near kind of the forehead hairline area, thumbs pointing down toward your eyebrows. You make contact and then you drag the skin of your forehead gently down. So you're only making enough pressure so that the skin kind of pulls in the direction of your eyes until you meet your eyebrow bone, that line of bone. And then when you've gotten to that bone, just kind of push down gently, don't overdo it. Maybe even widen the skin there. And then release gently as well. Maybe do that in 2 more points so you're getting kind of the whole brow bone, so maybe wider apart. Touch the skin near the hairline. Pull, you're kind of sliding down toward your eyebrows. Slowly. It should take you 4, 5, 6 seconds to get to your eyebrows. And then when you get to your brow bone, you've pulled your eyebrows kind of down to the brow bone, you just press into the bone. Hold. And then do that maybe one more time if you're doing it. Let's take another generous breath. And if you are on your brick, just slip that out, move it to the side. Draw your knees in, give yourself a little squeeze. And take your time making your way, I like first to the side. And then slowly back upright. Have a seat. And give a nice breath to the seated pose so that you're not rushing yourself. Thank you for practicing, for caring for your body, for being here with me and our little foster boy Puck. As you can see, he's pretty chill, really sweet dog. So hope you guys are well, and I look forward to seeing you next time.